joy when I watch Yoda and when I watch some of these Jedi insights. And when we're dealing with loss, one of the biggest things we can deal with when it comes to fear of loss is the next part, the next lesson that we get from Yodaism.
Death is a natural part of life. Rejoice for those around you who transform into the Force. Mourn them, do not. Miss them, do not.
This is a deep lesson about what is literally the most inevitable part of our lives, a part that we constantly are fighting against and accepting it. And this is a source of much of the suffering that goes on. We have to learn to accept that we all will either get old, get sick, and every single one of us is eventually going to die. There is no holding that back. There is nothing stopping that process. We all will make that journey back to the source. It's about time that we start to embrace this. That instead of making it something so grief-ridden and sad, that we start making it something honorable instead of devastating. We need to look at it as a continuation of our journey, a completion of a cycle, a return to the source that every single one of us will undertake. At no point in time is any of us exempt from that. So the better we are at accepting that, right? And Yoda says that we should not, mourn them. We miss them, do not mourn them, do not. He doesn't say, in this sense, it doesn't mean that you can't grieve them a little bit, or should I say, you can't miss them a little bit. We all miss, but think of it in terms of somebody who's moving away. So say you had a close friend and they had to move away. Okay, you may be a little sad, but you're happy for their journey. You're happy they're moving on to another chapter. They're going on. Maybe they're getting another job, better opportunity. They're going to go see the world. Whatever it may be, you're happy for them, right? It's not this entire grief-stricken process. And I understand that there's a subtle difference there because in this world in which we have an ability to interconnect with anybody through the use of computers and phones, it shouldn't be where we take death as a point that we should be so grief-stricken at that. There's a lot of people out there that death happens to in their lives and they just can't move past a certain point. And it literally becomes a huge obstacle in their lives. So what we have to do is we have to get past that. We have to celebrate it. We have to understand it's coming. It's always there. It's coming. It's around the corner. You never know when it's going to happen. It could be a lightning strike. It could be a bust. It could be a heart attack. It could be old age. But you never know. So let's start embracing it. Now we're going to take a little break. And we're going to come back with what is my favorite quote from Yoda. You're listening to Souliloqy Radio. You can find this show on any major podcast provider by going to soliloqyradio.com under the Listen Now tab and clicking on your preferred provider link. You can also find links to the YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram page. While you're there, remember to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And now, back to the show.
I can't. It's too big. Size matters not. Look at me. Judge me by my size, do you? And where you should not. For my ally is the Force. And a powerful ally it is. Life creates it. Makes it grow. Its energy surrounds us. And binds us. Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. You must feel the Force around you. You Between you, me, the tree, the rock, everywhere. Yes, even between the land and the ship.
What more can be said at that point? This is one of my favorite speeches by Yoda. It's a speech that when I first heard it, it rang within the deepest part of my soul, like someone striking a bell. And I was a kid at that point, and I really didn't understand the full concept of it, but it rung so deep in me. It made such an impression, that one part when he's talking about the Force and talking about luminous beings are we, and that the Force is my ally. Don't judge me because of my size. All of this rang. It left such an impression on me that I still remember it to this day, the first time I saw that. And it wasn't until I was a little older that I could really understand exactly what was being said in those words. The Force is my ally, he says, which means the universe is my ally. The Source is my ally. Because it's not something that you bend or manipulate and force it into your will. It's something you flow with and flows through you. It's my ally as it allows me to feel the interconnection to all things. And because of that, a powerful ally it is. And life creates it. Life makes it grow. The Force, the Source, whatever you want to call it, it isn't a God. It isn't an entity standing in judgment. It is made by life and makes it grow. Yet life also depends on it. See, it's a symbiotic relationship. One does not exist without the other, and no one knows which one came first. The Source energy is everywhere and thus interconnects and binds us to the entire universe. We can never separate ourselves from the universe because we are bound to it. And luminous beings are we, not this crude matter, because we're more than our physical bodies. We're so much more. We're not just what's contained in our five senses. We are, in our purest form, just energy. Energy being packed into molecules. We're bright and luminous, and that energy exists everywhere. It exists in the trees and the rocks and in the spaces in between them. It is in us, it is out of us, it is between us and our goals. We must learn to feel it and become in tune with it. And I know some people might be saying, "Oh, Otis, this is all science fiction. It's just a movie. It's Hollywood. None of it is true." But the inspiration came from somewhere. The inspiration for these universal truths came from somewhere. And when we're talking about the Force or the Source or the universal energy or whatever you want to call it, the fact is that science, now at this point, physicists understand that we only know of 4% of the universe. Our entire observable universe, all the planets and galaxies and solar systems and suns and stars, everything that we can see with the observable eye only accounts for about 4% of the universe. About 4%. Because the rest of the universe is made up of dark matter and dark energy. Stuff we cannot see. Stuff we know is there because we can see the force it exerts on everything else. But we don't exactly know what it is. What we do know is that dark energy, dark matter, it flows like an interconnected web through the entire universe. It literally binds the universe together, just like the Force. So in many ways, dark matter is the Force. And the fact is, dark matter, like I said, it makes up the major part of the universe. Makes up, who knows, it could be 90%. There could still be some other percent that we don't know, but it makes up an overwhelming amount of the universe. Imagine the energy, the power within that. A powerful ally, dark matter can be, right? If you were able to tap into it. So just like that, we're talking about Hollywood and science fiction, yeah. But the fact is that the universal truths are there, right? And if we can learn to spot universal truths where we can find them, we can find knowledge everywhere. Knowledge is everywhere. Wisdom is everywhere. The truth is everywhere. And it's only when we allow ourselves to see it. And how will you know? How will you know when something is a universal truth? I'm going to tell you right now. You know when it touches you. When it touches that most inner part of your soul, that most inner part of your inner being, like it's like if somebody hit like a bell and it's like boom, and you feel it, and you know what I'm talking about. When you hear some words that they ring so true that you're like, oh my gosh, you almost got to kind of stop. Maybe you have to listen to it again to let it fully sink into you because it was so profound. That's a universal truth. That's when you know what truth is. It's not what someone else feeds you. It may not even be what I tell you. But at some point in time, you're going to feel that. And you're going to remember that what I said was, when you feel that, you know that that rings true to you. And there's many different versions of truth. Truth is not held by one person or one belief or one system. The truth of the universe is too large for any one of our minds to even grasp. So we grasp at pieces of it, at straws of it. Each one of us may grab a little piece of it. But there's many paths to the truth. And so if you're open to it, you can find those universal truths anywhere. Again, I want to thank you. I hope everyone had a great May the 4th. If you haven't seen a Star Wars movie, please go out and see one. They're really great. There's the next one that's going to be coming out soon. I'm really excited to see it. I hope to see everybody at the movie theater. And like I said, stay focused, stay positive, and make today count. Thanks for taking the time to tune in to the show. I hope you enjoyed listening. If you did, please leave a review or comment, as your positivity is greatly appreciated. Visit Souliloqyradio.com under the Listen tab for links to the podcast via your preferred provider, along with links to the Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube channel. I'd like to thank Evening Land, Audionautics, and Vienne for providing music for this broadcast. I would also like to thank all the listeners for their support. And remember, stay focused, stay positive, and make today count.